K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
Republicans and Democrats.
All right, folks. Well, it is Saturday morning. Now, actually, almost Saturday afternoon, at least here in Central Time Land, because somebody ran long on his other show. Not throwing you under the bus or anything. Don't pay any attention to those wheels. But, yeah, so anyway, this is Finding Common Ground. It is just a couple minutes before the half-hour mark, so we'll be taking our breaks a little weird today. Probably won't take one again until about noon, and then we'll take the other one about 45-ish, I don't know. 15-ish, sorry. But yeah, so anyway, got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to give Bryce just a couple minutes to maybe decompress or vent, because, you know, the last part of that show was pre-recorded for him, and I think it was a hard interview for him, just from the way the guy was talking to him there at the end. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to kind of just decompress if you want.
Pastor James David Manning is a fool. It's just, yeah, my God. He's given the opportunity as a powerful pastor who reaches out to millions of people to unite and, you know, make peace. But rather he uses it to condemn people to hell when that's not his job. That's like Jesus' job, and that's God's job to choose whether or not you go to hell. And it's really not his job. And it just bothers me how freaking hypocritical this man is. I mean, he's lived a life of what he would call sin. If you ever listen to him or read about him, he is, or was at least, an awful human being. He abandoned his children, his wife. He did terrible things, but then he says, oh, he repented for it. And if someone's honestly going to tell me that doing all the shit that he did, he said he would leave his children hungry while he would get drugs. So if you're going to tell me that that's not as bad, or that's acceptable because he repented for it, but somebody falling in love with who they want to fall in love with is not okay. Come on, that's a crock of shit. If someone's born a homosexual, that's not an issue. But if you choose to live a life of drugs and whatever he was talking about, he said, if I saw a skirt, that meant sex. If you're going to be an asshole like that, then you're 20 times worse than somebody who falls in love with whoever they want to fall with. Pastor James David Manning is a twit. Period. Okay, I'm good.
All right, so yeah, I don't really want to spend too much time talking about that because I'm sure everybody was tuning in for the interview. I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of, since that wasn't a live event, because you had actually pre-recorded it, give you a chance to say what you wanted to say. Now, a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is going to center around the 2016 debates and of the Republican one that was done so far. I have to say, I was surprised by a few things. I was surprised, well, I won't necessarily say surprised, I was pleasantly pleased with how well Fiorina did in the first round, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed that she didn't wind up replacing somebody like, say, Huckabee, and actually making it onto the main stage. But the reason, after watching the main debate, that I'm kind of glad that she didn't, is because everybody was so busy trying to knock Trump down a few pegs that I don't think she would have gotten nearly the attention that she got during the first stage debate. And, you know, like Trump, hate Trump, personally, I was on the fence with him until his behavior, and I will tell everybody exactly why. And then I have a little recap of exactly how Donald Trump appeared to me during that main debate, and even if up to the couple of weeks running before that. But my thing with Trump, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, we as the American people have already had a petty, narcissistic, petulant brat in the White House for the last 7 years. Donald, you may have a lot of money, and you may know how to build businesses, and you may know how to work the law to your favor to keep those businesses and your money going in the direction that you feel they need to go, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good leader for the country. I do like the fact that you don't have a filter, to a point. I do like the fact that you say exactly what you mean, and you mean what you say. But I don't like how you behaved during that debate. Now, do I think that Fox got some marching orders from some donors and basically made it an all-out attack on Trump? I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about that one way or the other. What I do know is, regardless of the circumstances, he had the chance to rise to the occasion and show America that he was better than who he portrayed himself to be that night. And he failed, in my opinion. You cannot use the circumstances to your benefit if you were the one that set yourself up for failure. They didn't make things up that they said about him. They brought things to the surface that he has said and that he did say. So if you cannot defend what you say or deflect it well enough to not come off like an ass, then you deserve whatever you get from the folks that are asking you the questions. Because this is something that I've said over and over and over again on social media. If If he can't handle himself with Megyn Kelly, what the hell are we going to do the first time he's in the room with Putin? The American people don't need to be spending tax dollars on bail money or worried that we're going to have a nuclear incident because he can't keep his damn trap shut.
You don't think he handled himself pretty well with Megyn Kelly?
I do not. No, I think he had the chance to rise above the things that she was saying about him instead of coming across as a petulant ass.
I mean, I think that I think the question was more loaded than it, like you said. I think it was more a marching order than it was a legitimate policy question. And I think he responded because he could tell they were clearly targeting him. And I kind of felt like, yeah, God bless him. He did. I think he answered it well.
Well, let me tell you where he lost me. He actually, and to paraphrase Jerry Maguire, he lost me at hello, because they tried to take him out the very first question when they said, we're only going to have one of these, but we need a show of hands. Who here, if they are not the actual candidate by the end of this selection cycle, pledges that or cannot pledge that they will support?
Oops, sorry.
Really? Pledges that they cannot support whoever the eventual nominee is, and they pledge that they will not run as a third party. He's the first one that shot his hand up in the air. I have a problem with that. And I have a problem with that because of some of the things that have been coming to light about the fact that he consulted with Clinton before he made a decision. All he did when he shot his hand up in the air is put fuel on the fire of all of these people that have now come out and said, look, he's not serious about running. He's eventually going to split off and make a third-party run at it, and all he's going to wind up doing is handing the presidency to the Democrats, which I know would make you ecstatic, because I'm pretty sure that before that's all said and done, I don't think Hillary's going to be the one to make it. I've actually placed a bet with Jason DeWilkins from According to Me that I don't even think she's going to make it through the primary process. But...
Wait. What? Repite?
Did I
You don't think Hillary Clinton's going to get the nomination?
No, I don't think she'll get the nomination. I think
so. Who will?
I'm afraid of who will, but I'm pretty sure it's going to wind up being your boy Bernie. It's either going to be Bernie, or if Crazy Uncle Joe actually declares, I'm pretty sure he'll probably wind up being the one that will get it because of the fact the Obama machine will be coming out right behind him, which is going to be what winds up ultimately derailing Hillary if Biden declares, because they've been counting on Obama's support because he promised them in 2008 if she campaigned for him, he would do the same for her when her time came. And he doesn't want to do that. Point blank, shortly after he was elected again in 2012, he basically told Clinton to go F himself. When they had a call after he won, he said, don't forget, here in 4 years it'll be Hillary's turn. And Obama was like, I remember what I said. Now F off and die.
Though, here's my opinion on this, and it's pretty close to what you just said. Hillary's clearly the front runner right now. Joe Biden enters the race, right? When he enters the race, nobody who supports Bernie Sanders is going to go flock over and say, oh my God, guys, come on, Joe Biden's running, let's go. No, people from Hillary's camp are going to say, guys, Joe Biden's running, he's more trustworthy. Because Joe Biden and, let's be honest, Hillary Clinton are pretty identical people, except he's got a more friendly, uncle crazy appeal. That Hillary Clinton is just a creepy lesbian in a pantsuit. So,
Did you just call her creepy because she's a lesbian? That's kind of a bad thing to say, isn't it?
No, I said she's a creepy lesbian in a pantsuit.
Okay, just clarifying.
But nobody's gonna leave Bernie's side to go to Joe. People are gonna leave Hillary to go to Joe. So let's just say, hypothetically, right? Bernie Sanders in the latest poll was at 25%. Hillary Clinton was down to 55%. And the rest were all, taking the rest of the numbers. What I see happening, Martin O'Malley is going to come up big, and he's going to inch his way up. I see him getting to 15%. I see Joe Biden taking a 25% chunk out of Hillary Clinton. And I see Bernie Sanders could narrowly take the lead.
Yeah. I understand that for the primary process. Like I said, what concerns me is with the numbers that Trump is getting and the fact that he's basically now being shunned by the major parts of the Republican Party. I think everything that everybody that was just branded a tinfoil hat conspiracist a couple of days ago has been saying all along is probably exactly what's going to come to pass. I think at some point he will split from the party and he will run as an independent. And when he does that, he's going to take enough of the conservative base with him that whoever is running as the Democratic nominee during the actual final election is going to be able to win it. And I honestly, at this point, am starting to be concerned that that's kind of been the goal all along. I mean, let's face it. He admitted during the debate, yes, I've given to Hillary. I gave to her organization that I thought was going to be doing good things for other people. And mainly I give to politicians because I know when the time comes, I'm a businessman. And when they owe me a favor, I can call it in later. So here's the thing, though. If you've been donating to Hillary, and pretty much a lot, I mean, and he's a businessman. I understand he hedges his bets. He even admitted during the debate, I've given money to a lot of the folks that are standing up here with me right now, which is why I'm upset that that I feel like they're turning on me. And I understand how he feels. I understand why he would have been angry with what happened during that debate. What I don't like and what I didn't want to see, which is exactly what I saw, was somebody who basically, instead of rising above it and speaking as a president or someone who wanted to be president, he went and took it in the exact same direction as the people that were attacking him. That's not what we need. We don't need somebody who, after the fact, talks about how, somebody was bloodied up after the fight and then everybody misconstrues it and thinks that he's making another sexist comment. The simple fact of the matter is, all he had to say was what he said in the middle of his tirade, which is, this country is stuck on political correctness. I am tired of political correctness. I don't have time for political correctness. And if you don't like what I'm saying, I really don't care. If he would have said that and left it there, the ovation that he got during that time frame wouldn't have turned to boos when 30 seconds later he pointed his guns at Kelly and said, with the way you're treating me, I've always been nice to you, but I don't necessarily have to do that, I guess. That was my problem. He didn't stay above the conversation, which is what you want a president to do. We've had somebody for the last 7 years who takes on the press corps and makes fun of the press corps, talks crap about the press corps. I don't care if you're a liberal or a conservative. We don't need a president that does the crap that this president's been doing for the last 7 years. I don't care whether he's rich, poor, black, white, whatever the case may be. We've had enough of that crap. I don't want somebody who is blatantly and openly attacking people just because they're trying to ask him questions. If you don't, it's not like he didn't know that question was coming. Everybody on that stage had a list of the questions that were going to be asked. They always do.
I'll give you that one. Did you see Rand Paul's face when Donald Trump said, I've given a lot of you money, I've given him money? And did you see Rand Paul's face? They did a camera angle on his face. He looked like his puppy just died. I swear to God. And he came off as far too aggressive in that debate.
That's the problem, though. When you have somebody who is as aggressive as Trump is and is stealing the spotlight, some of the lower-ranking folks are not going to have a choice but to try to step up their game to his level. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to see that happening in that debate. If I had my druthers, I wish that they wouldn't have asked those two questions. The one about who's not going to support the party, and then the one about comments that Trump had made in the past. Those were conversations that didn't need to happen during a presidential debate. For that, I do condemn Fox, because they're the ones that are always touting how they're fair and balanced, and in this instance, they failed miserably, much like they have been lately in a lot of other instances. But the simple fact of the matter is, it happened, and he had a chance to stand up, rise above it all, and shine. And for the folks that are already diehard supporters of his, he did that. For the folks that were on the fence like me, he lost us. And I just have to say it. I will not, no matter what, support him. If it comes down to where it's between him and Bernie in the primary, then I don't have a choice. Or in the final election, the general, I don't have a choice. But until that point, I cannot and I will not support him.
I'm going to wrap myself, because I thought that you just said that you might vote for Bernie.
Oh, no. No. I would feel way too dirty. I cannot vote for someone who has declared themselves a socialist, even if it is a democratic socialist, which I'm sorry, to me is just mincing words because it's the same damn stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, look, if it comes down to Trump versus Hillary, I'm voting for Trump. I don't trust Hillary Clinton. I don't. But I mean, look, he's a TV personality. I wasn't expecting him to rise up, but I would have loved to have seen that. Now, here is something that I must bring up. And this is going to bring the rowdy out and rowdy Rick Robinson. You know, they asked about LGBT issues. And John Kasich looked like a hero for your party, for, independence, I guess, saying that he would embrace his gay daughters, that he went to a gay wedding, he still loves the person, that he just because he doesn't agree with it. That guy, he looked good. Someone who didn't look good was Marco Rubio, who, when asked, in the case of rape or incest or danger to the mother, is abortion okay? He followed in Mike Huckabee's fashion and said no.
He didn't follow in anybody's fashion. That's always been his stance, as far as I can tell.
Not in the case of rape and incest, no.
Besides, I thought that was Santorum, not Rubio. I have to admit, there was about 45 seconds I started dozing off. That may have been the 45 seconds I missed.
Yeah, they asked Rubio a question about abortion, and they said, Megyn Kelly asked, even in the case where it causes harm to the woman, or it's rape or incest, are you against abortion? And this was right after Mike Huckabee answered the question and got a very loud applause. He said that there's other options, stuff like that. And I think he turned off a huge portion of his listeners because, like you always say, we're never going back. But hang on, I got to get to the point where I'm going to bring out the rowdy Rick Robinson. Mike Huckabee was touting about science. He's saying it's basic science that life begins at conception, which I agree with. You don't get 3 cells from nothing that's living. You don't get, that's just not true. So, of course, life begins at conception. And he was saying that that's proven by basic science and biology. But how fucking dare he say that? Because when science tells us, when the 5 branches of the United States military, right, the people who these Republicans claim to support...
Get ready for the global warming, folks. Here it comes.
When they say that's basic science, when NASA says that's basic science, when 97% of climate scientists, when 10,000 research papers and only 2 come back saying that it's not, say climate change is basic science, when the United Nations says it, when all of our scientists say it,
have you done some research into what the United Nations has actually said about climate change? Because I think you might find yourself surprised.
Are you kidding? Ban Ki-moon and all the United Nations, one of their biggest issues is climate change, saying that it's man-driven, that man's progress has driven...
and a lot of their scientists and a lot of the folks about the same time all the WikiLeaks crap started coming out have actually said that a lot of the reason the United Nations is so driven on pushing the global climate change agenda is for control. You can find the documentation everywhere. Look, I'm not going to argue climate change with you today because I don't care, because this is the thing. Whether it's man-made or not, we should be taking care of our planet. If we're not, then you're an idiot. If you can't take 5 seconds to recycle, then you're a douche. If you can't use less plastic, then you're a douche. It doesn't matter because it's a non-issue for me. Because the simple fact of the matter is I have been commanded by my beliefs to take care of the world around me and be a good steward of it. If you can't take 5 seconds to do that, then you are a douche. And if you have a problem with that, then you can go away. It's that simple.
But you know what the problem is? These people aren't going away. And the issue I'm having here isn't even necessarily climate change. They didn't ask any questions about energy. And I thought when Jeb Bush brought up we need to make our energy policy better or whatever, they didn't bring it up. They never brought up energy policy. And you know what? We're entering the age where oil, it's gonna get scarce. We're entering the age where...
Oh, come on. They've been saying that since the 50s. We were supposed to be out of oil by now.
I mean,
come on, seriously, go back and look at the research. They've been saying that we were supposed to be out of oil 15 years ago. If you go back and you start looking in the 40s and the 50s, we were only supposed to have a 50, 60-year supply. We're now plus 15 years on that, and now we found even more oil than we ever knew what to do with.
I know, but here's the thing. In the United States, in the 1970s, we already hit our peak oil, so it's about time that soon we'll be running out all over the world.
Okay.
But you know what? That's I guess another time for another episode. But my problem is that they didn't talk about. They talked about gay rights and they talked about abortion, but they didn't talk about.
What do you expect them to talk about when they're trying to get votes from their base?
I want to hear them talk about. I don't care what they're.
Okay, so hang on. By your logic, in a couple of when is the Democratic debate? Because by your logic, then in a couple of months, I should be hearing some of them talk about how they're anti-abortion.
I don't want to hear any of that. I don't care about that stuff.
But that's my point. The Republican base doesn't give a crap about climate change either. So why would they talk about it?
No, not even climate change does it. Just. What's your energy policy? How are you going to make jobs? Don't just tell me what jobs you made. Tell me how as you as president, how are you going to get jobs back in America?
Yeah, so they're supposed to do that in 60 seconds, huh? That's how you roll?
Donald Trump laid it out pretty simply when he gave his opening address that he was running for president. He said, let's place a 35% tariff on Mexican imports, and that way we're going to make it equal to compete with them, and we can bring some jobs back to America. I mean, I know that'll never happen, but if he's going to say that, that sounds great to me.
All right. Well, speaking of Trump, to get us back on the topic of the actual debates instead of Bryce's wish list for what they would have talked about in a conservative debate where they're not going to freaking talk about climate change. I want to hear a Democrat talk about abortion then. But anyway, so back to what I did want to talk about today before we actually have to take a break. These are my thoughts on the Trump fiasco at the debates. Whether you want to blame Fox or him is up to
Only Rosie O'Donnell. $8,737,540,000. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me. We need quickness and we need brain in this country.
That's all, folks.
And that's my thought on Trump's behavior on the stage. We have got to take a break. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes to continue with the show.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow! Good God, y'all! What is it good for? Absolutely! Get started again.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are. and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
All right, we're back. We're live. Bryce is trying to push my buttons today, but I'm not gonna let him, man. I'm not gonna do it. Okay. So anyway, before we left, I did play a little bit of a clip, and then we were up against the break, so I had to take the break. I know I'm probably gonna get hate mail over that. Other people heard it and started laughing and giggling. Twitter kind of lit up a little bit there for a second, so I know some people heard it, which is interesting because according to the system, we don't have very many of you listening, but according to Twitter, we do have a few, so I'm kind of confused. But anyway, so...
Damn it, technology!
Pretty much. So that kind of brings me back to where I was before the break. Like I said, you want to blame Fox for how Trump was treated, that's fine. But here's my problem with this, and I think we have forgotten this. Obama, for the last 7 years, has been getting softball questions, cream puff questions from the majority of the press. If and when Donald Trump becomes president, if he can't handle a sarcastic question from his own side of the fence, what the hell is he going to do to the press corps? I mean, is he going to come out Godfather style and say, I want you dead, I want your friends dead, I want your family dead, I want your dog dead? I mean, is that what we're bringing ourselves to at this point? Have we gotten to the point where the presidential election cycle is about nothing more than entertainment value?
I think for a large majority, yes, it is. Especially with Donald Trump, I think.
And that's why I'm sad, because we are now seeing a generation of people that have spent the majority of their formative years watching things such as reality TV that are now reaching the age of voting. And they see someone who's treating the election cycle much like a reality TV show. And they latch onto it. They're like, oh my God, this is great. This is the best election cycle we've ever had. I'm like, and you know, I even hear this from some older folks, you know, because Trump is bringing people in that might not have otherwise heard the conservative message. But are they truly there to hear the conservative message, or are they just there to watch Trump act like a dick? Because that's what Trump did the other night, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. It doesn't matter why they did what they did. He had the chance, and he has the ability, because I've seen him in tough situations. I've seen him during negotiations, because there's videos that come out about that stuff all the time. He has the ability to remain calm and to diffuse the situation. He chose not to do that. And again, this is my problem. If he gets that rattled when somebody from Fox News says, hey, you've said some pretty crappy stuff about women. Yeah, and that's because, you know, just like you, I have people that I think are beautiful and I have people that I think are ugly, and we're entitled to our opinions. I occasionally say things because I think they're going to be funny, not because I mean them as an insult. And if he would have said that, because that's exactly what he tried to say, and then he took it in the wrong damn direction, then I would have probably come away with a much different impression of Donald Trump than I have now. Now, the one thing that I will tell you that has been driving me absolutely crazy is for the last 24 hours, we've had all of this talk about this organization, Red State, that's having a convention right now, that has actually removed Donald Trump from the speaking list. I may not like Donald Trump. I may not agree with what Donald Trump says, but I'm not telling him to sit down and shut his mouth. I'm just telling him he probably needs to take a different tact if he wants to become president of the United States. I thought the conservatives were supposed to be the party of freedom. So now all of a sudden somebody says something we don't agree with, and they're removed from a speaking engagement? Really?
I think that's un-American. I don't like that they're going to remove him from a speaking. I mean, probably he wouldn't have gone anyways, but the fact that they removed him is ridiculous. I mean, look, if this is the United States of America, our First Amendment right is freedom of speech. Somebody's running for president. How disrespectful, how outrageous is it to totally deny them access to speak at an event? That is the media picking and choosing who's running for president, and that's a huge problem in this country today. Look at it this way. If any of you have listened to Opinion Nation, my show, my interview with Lloyd Kelso, if you haven't, go listen to it now. But here's the thing. What if he doesn't get on that debate stage? He's running for president. He has ideas. He has got something to say. If the media is going to pick and choose who's on the debate stage, just like they did with the past debate, then the media is selecting our choice. And that's not what our founding fathers ever wanted. They never, ever envisioned that we would have media giants like Fox freaking News deciding, oh, well, according to the top 10 polls, we're only going to have these jackasses on and not these jackasses. Rachel Maddow, I mean, I don't like Rachel Maddow's show too much, but it's pretty good sometimes when I'm in my really liberal mood. She said, why don't they just break it up, have all the candidates broken up, randomly drawn, and that's the state, and that's when they go on. You do 2 debates, again, both with the random people on the stage. That way it's fair. It's ridiculous to say that because you're not, whatever, popular enough, you can't speak here, when, you know what, that's not American. That's not giving somebody their fair chance, and it's telling the media to pick who's going to be on, and then it's freaking ridiculous. And in this case, because they don't agree with him, they're not going to let him speak. But you know what? If you let him speak, maybe you'd agree with him. Hey. Rick, what do you think?
No, I mean, I'm actually really disappointed. I mean, like I said, I don't agree with a lot of the things that Donald says. I don't agree, especially with his behavior on the debate stage. And again, he lost me 30 seconds in when he put his hand up, because we don't need somebody who says, look, I feel I'm the best candidate, and if I don't get your vote, then I'm not going to tell you that I'm not going to run as an independent because I think I'm the best candidate. That, like I said, concerns me, because if he decides to do that, then whoever the Democrat is going to win unless he can pull enough from all sides, and I just don't think he's going to be able to do that. He's too polarizing. The biggest thing that, again, concerns me about this decision with Red State, though, is because all they're doing now is feeding the people that tell him he should run as an independent, because they're the same folks that feel that conservatives are no longer conservative enough.
To be quite honest, though, I think that the country's moved away from that mentality of, or we are moving away from the mentality of that conservatism necessarily works, and I don't think that. I
think there are a large number of people that would disagree with you. I think the issue is you spend a lot of time only listening to your side of the argument. I spend time listening to both sides of the argument, so I fully understand that there is now a larger number growing of people every day that actually feel like at this point conservatism is probably going to be one of the only things that might actually keep us from becoming a completely socialized state. And I know at your age and in your demographic, a lot of you guys think that socialism is the way to go. There are a lot of us that still don't. Now, at some point, you may get your way.
No, I mean, look, I think that we need to find somewhere in the middle there where we have social programs that take care of people, where that give students college educations, and the government doesn't make freaking profit off of it. And even Donald Trump said that. And Bernie Sanders says that. And Martin O'Malley says that. And for Donald Trump to say that while still preaching some conservative, at least, methods of economic function, then I agree with that.
Well, I mean, like I said, my issue with socialism is it doesn't work forever. It solves problems for the short term, but the biggest problem you're always going to run into is eventually you're going to run out of other people's money, and that's the only way that those programs continue to be funded.
No, I'm not. I know, and I'm not preaching that we go to a totally socialist state, because that just doesn't work. People have incentive. People want the incentive to work and keep going. But I do think that the government is doing a shitty job at enabling its people to get that job done. If you give everybody a first-rate education, right, and you give them health care and they don't need to worry about that, then I think we would have an incredible workforce of geniuses who would outpace China in a matter of minutes.
We already have an entire population of people that feel like they're entitled to things, and it doesn't do anybody any good. And here, now, I will play devil's advocate for a moment and say that even if you're right, and if giving people a proper education and just handing it to them, and if making sure they have health care is the way to fix everything that's broken, it's never going to happen, because the government doesn't want to fix the things that are broken, because if we fix them, we don't need them.
True that. But I just want to give a piece of proof that shows that I think education would simply work if we gave everybody the education system that Bernie and Trump is talking about. In the 1950s and 60s, most public colleges were free or at a substantially reduced cost because the federal government paid a huge part in subsidizing them. Whereas today they really don't. It's left up to the state, and a lot of times states can't afford it. For example, UC Berkeley is perhaps one of the most famous ones, as it was made famous by Robert Reich. I'm sure he's, practically in the SS for you, but he said that.
Well, his last name's Reich. I'm just saying.
That's true. He's the fourth one. But when he went to Berkeley, it was free. His second or third year there cost $700, still very cheap. In the 1970s, and today it's almost $30,000. So because the federal government stopped doing that, cost of college went up. But here's the proof that it worked. In the 50s and 60s, we had some of the best, most prosperous times in this country, and people were coming out of college getting great paying jobs. And the amount of students who went to college was on the rise, the pay in this country was on the rise, and the quality of life was on the rise, because more people were getting an education. And you can see that simply with the GI Bill. I mean, I always tout that one.
Anecdotal evidence does not prove your case. You're looking at the 50s. We still had production jobs in the 50s. We didn't have... Our money was still backed by things that were tangible in the 50s. There are so many different variables that you're not allowing into the equation. It's not just about education.
Taught to build up.
Hang on a second.
Giving
Did
your
it to me
dog
again.
bad breath. Try Doggy Dentures. Now available in extra white.
You're kidding, right?
What the heck was that? You or me that time?
I mean, I would say that I think the GI Bill, I always tout that one off, but when you give people an education, they have more on their resume to do with, and they can go it's much easier to go make a better life for yourself when you have that education.
Really? Then how come there's so many people with like 6-year degrees that are flipping burgers right now?
I mean, give me the stat on how many people have the 6-year degree and how many people are flipping burgers. Then we could talk about that. But I don't know.
I shouldn't have to give you the stat, because you're the one that pointed that out on one of the first shows that we ever did together.
Well, it's true. I mean, people are now having to take those jobs because, like you just said, the production jobs are gone. I don't know the stat on it. I don't know how many people get the 6-year degrees and then do that, but perhaps. But it is true. We do need to figure out how to bring manufacturing back to this country, and I think the way to do it is invest in education so that we can make our technology better, so that our tech is the slave and not some Chinese kid in China.
But how does that solve the problem, though? If you have one guy that figures out how to make a zillion robots that can build an iPhone and we don't pay them anything, you still have a lot of people that aren't working, so I'm confused how that fixes the problem.
Well, because then you at least bring construction jobs, you bring oversight jobs. People still have to run a factory even if there's robots doing it. We're not going to have... I know Amazon touts that they have a completely autonomous factory, but that's not the truth. The fact of the matter is that you're still going to need people working at the plant. There's still going to be assembly jobs. There's still going to be jobs on the line, and there's still going to be jobs at the plants, and there's still going to be, decent paying jobs. And let's not forget about infrastructure, of course. That'll be a huge job maker if we could actually get a highway built through. But that'll never happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, at this point, the thing about it is, I'm not necessarily opposed to finding a way to help people pay for their schooling, but I think we're taking things still in the wrong direction, because one of the reasons the government started paying for education in the 50s was because there was absolutely nobody going to college. They didn't have any college graduates, really.
Yeah, and now we need to go to college to compete.
To go to college to do what? This is my point. We have all of these programs for people that cannot afford to go to college. As a matter of fact, I got a 2-year degree. You know what? The only thing I had to pay for was my books. Because I was at a low income level at the time that I started into college, because I grew up in a house where we had, it was even before food stamps. I remember the government commodities. I remember the big freaking white labeled box that looked like Velveeta with the nastiest cheese ever. I remember my mom bringing home powdered milk so that we could use that when we were eating our cereal. So when I went to school, I got to go to school for free. Only thing I had to pay for was my books. These programs already freaking exist. Nobody wants to use them. And when they do, they go to freaking school to get degrees in liberal arts studies. What the hell are you going to do with a liberal arts studies degree?
You can become a sociologist.
And what is a sociologist going to do? They're damn sure not going to be building robots. That's my problem. If we're going to make changes, we need to legitimately make changes. Making education free will not fix the problem. What we need to do is find ways to help people figure out what it is that they want to do with their lives and what it is that we're good at. It's the same thing that I see in the private sector all day, every day. We have all of these tests that people take that figure out the best, easiest ways for them to learn, to make it easier for them to figure out how to do their jobs. But nobody uses those results. We don't use them in school. We don't use them at work. There are, at last count, at least 7 different ways that people learn, and each person learns differently than the other. But there are ways where we can classify how a lot of folks learn, and we can start targeting their education styles to fit the way that they learn, so that they don't have to spend 13 years in school learning the same way that everybody else does things, because it's the only way that we know how to do it. If we're going to fix it, let's actually fix it. Let's not just hand it out like it's a gravy train and say, here, waste 13 years of your life in public school, and then here, we're going to pay for you to waste 4 more, because you still don't even know what you want to do with your life.
Rick, that's exactly what they do in Europe. I can't believe you just... that is pretty close to what they do in Europe.
Well, I didn't say Europe doesn't do some things right. I said that there was a reason we fought for independence from them, because they're a bunch of nozzles, but that's a different story.
They're a bunch of nozzles. That was a great description. But, wow, Rick just agreed with something that was European. Just putting that out there.
Really, every American is at least European at one time when they're in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. You didn't get it. It's a really old joke. It actually was on, I think it was on Tool Time. It was when they were really, really little, one of them walked up to Dad and says, "Hey, Dad, when is an American not an American?" When you're in the bathroom. Why not, son? Because you're European.
I get it. That was actually not bad. See, finding common ground can either be we're either really riled up, especially you, or we just laugh the whole time about cheesy ass jokes. So This is finding common ground, everybody. Enjoy.
It's never the same thing twice. It can't be.
No, it absolutely is never the same thing twice.
All right. Actually, we are getting to the point where... we blew through the break, so let's do this. I'm going to give a shout-out to a sponsor real quick since I forgot to take the second break of the show. That is concealandcarry.net. Pretty easy way to find them. You just go to put a www with a dot, the word conceal, the letter N, then the word carry.net. What that is, it is a conglomeration of businesses and organizations that not only help you find the rules in your state for your conceal and carry permit, they will help you find materials, weaponry, accessories, and even places to take your training classes that may be required in any state that you reside in. And they do have locations listed in their network in all 50 states. So if you have questions about weaponry or how to get the conceal and carry permit in your area, make sure you go hit them up. Click on your state and just look for the folks that are in your area that can help you answer your questions.
Basically, when the government comes to take all our guns, you're going to go to the site and they're going to help you because you don't know what to do. So they're going to teach you how to lock and load, bitches. Like that.
All right. So, the guy from Jersey really shouldn't try to talk like Inoki. It don't work.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work at all. Oh, well.
Damn Jersey boy.
Damn it. Damn it, Bobby. I want to sound like the guy from King of the Hill so bad.
Yeah, I bet you do.
So, what else is on the agenda?
Actually, I think we are about out of steam at this point. We've pretty much talked about everything. Do you have anybody coming up with you this next week as far as your guests or anything? Because that way I have an idea of what to prep for this time.
Okay, so we have possibly Lincoln Chafee. I've been in contact with his scheduler for the past month, and every time she gives like a little boost of discussion, she says we're working out a time and a schedule, and then I ask her, and she's like, okay, I'll let you know when something opens up. And I've been very lenient about it, saying we can do it literally any time, whatever. But we'll find out about that. Jim Gilmore has responded. Jim Gilmore, he was on the 5 o'clock debate stage. He will be coming on sometime later this month. He's actually going to Iowa, so his scheduler said that when he comes back, he can come on. And we were working that out. Tia Oso, who interrupted Bernie Sanders, said she could not be coming on next week. She was supposed to be. Might be coming on sometime in the next month or two. Other than that, I've been talking to John Kasich's press manager. She wanted to listen to a show, then get back to me, so I'm going to call her after this. And let's see, what else? I talked to Bernie Sanders' press person or whatever. Left them a message. I'm going to call them right after this, see where that gets me. But I would literally,
according to the guy you interviewed today, it's going to land you in hell.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
that
saying.
Is true. No, that's true. I would probably cry if Bernie Sanders was on my show.
I really thought you were about to say something else. Ba-dum-pump.
Yeah, I think what you're thinking, I'm probably thinking too.
All right, so just to give everybody a little bit of a upcoming for this week on America Off the Rails, which is every Monday through Friday at 6 Central. Monday, I actually have Jared from Red Nation Rising Radio will be joining me, as well as the host and co-host from Liberty Unfiltered, a show that actually airs here on Sunday nights. So we'll have a bit of a panel discussion going on. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll get yours truly pretty much ranting and raving. And then Thursday, I have Patrick Fernari, author of Commodore Sense, joining me again. Much like we did Thursday, we had a little bit of a in the midst of the debate discussion. Now we're going to have a post-debate discussion. I have a feeling he and I might disagree some, so it should be fun because he seems to be a pretty avid Trump supporter. I, however, really am not. Again, was kind of on the fence until he started acting like an ass on Thursday night, just to put it bluntly. But that will pretty much do it for this particular episode. Don't forget, today at 3 o'clock, we do have... I forgot their names. the Ann and Frank Show, live over from the East Coast. And then tonight at 6, we will have Voices of Global Freedom Radio. And then tonight at, I guess technically tomorrow morning at 1, we should have an episode of The Secret Teachings. And then everything kicks off again tomorrow with Richard Hardin's God's Pure Word of Faith bright and early Sunday morning. And then, of course, we have Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, our regular Sunday show that will be actually live from the Red State Convention in Atlanta. And then that will pretty much do it until the evening stuff kicks off at around 8 Central. We do have a show in the works with Dr. Randy Arrington. Hope to have some more information about that soon. They'll probably be assuming a Wednesday or Sunday afternoon time slot, which is awesome because it's really hard to get people to want to do this stuff on the weekends for some reason. But I think that will actually do it for today. Before we get out of here, why don't you remind folks of where they can find you, interact with you, all that fun stuff.
Of course. So you can always catch me at my email, opnat.news@gmail.com. You ever want to shoot me a question or ever want to be on the show, look us up on Facebook on Opinion Nation News. That's our Facebook page.
They say we offer simple...
tweet us on Twitter at OPNAT News, OpNat News. And don't forget, always look us up. We're on Stitcher, Spreaker, Player FM, TuneIn. You can always catch us live on the website. But don't forget, listen to Opinion Nation every Saturday at 11 a.m.
All right, that's going to do it for today. Again, I'm Rick Robinson. We'll be back with you starting Monday night. And don't forget about the other shows we've got coming on behind us later today. Do hope everybody enjoys the rest of your weekend. And no matter what, just remember, whether you want to blame Fox or you want to blame Trump, the simple fact of the matter is they both played a part in what happened on that debate stage. And I think there are a lot of folks that are overreacting to it to a point, especially to the point where we're now censoring free speech in what is supposed to be the party of freedom. That's my parting shot for everybody, folks. We are out of here.
Bernie Sanders 2016. Love you, Rick.
Not an easy answer.
Yeah, whatever.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve. We need serious people to solve them.
Republicans and Democrats.